Okay, family. Now we're going to go a little bit further, and if we can recall, if you have not watched part one, please go back and watch part one because we did establish just by reading that the covenant was between Judah, was for Judah and the house of Yasharel, the house of Yasharel and the house of Judah only. We established by reading that you cannot add people to the covenant. And that's what the grafting in is. It's about grafting back in the original people, the house of Judah, the rebellious one, and for the most part, the house of Yasharel is the one that was grafted in. Those are the one that's been grafted back in. Remember, the scripture says we cannot add to that covenant and we cannot take away from that covenant, or you will get the plagues of in this book. So we're careful not to do this. And in Paul, when he was talking, we was talking about the grafting in. You could be grafted in again. He was talking about the two specific people, two specific kingdoms, is what he was talking about. So that has been established just by reading, just by reading. But and so now we need to go on and say, go on and what I'm trying to say here. I guess what I'm trying to say at this point is that the new covenant or the renewed covenant was for the house of Yasharel and the house of Judah only. That's only. So now we need to go and say, okay, we know that the Most High is merciful. Let's see how the Most High provides for those who are not part of the nation of Yasharel and the nation of Yehuda, which will be coming together as two sticks. But it's not this reading is not about that right now. So right now, let's go to Jasher, the book of Jasher. So if you do not have the book of Jasher, stop stop this recording, stop this video right now and pause it and pull up the book of Jasher on your computer or on your phone and pull it up so that you can read along with me. Okay? Because the book of Jasher gives us precepts on how the Most High provide for the other nations, the other Gentile nations. So pull that out. I'm going to give you a second. Okay, we're going to start in Jasher chapter 18, and we're going to let's start at verse 10. And what happened between the verses 1 through 9, we will not read, but that was when the three angels, the three messengers of Yahuwah came to Abraham and Sarah, and told them that they was going to have a son. Okay. It was then. So verse 10 is going to start when they were leaving, when they left. And we'll start reading there. Jasher chapter 18, verse 10. And the men afterward, talk about the angels, departed and went their ways to the places to which they were sent, where the Most High sent them, was sending them. In those days, all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and of the whole five cities were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Most High. And they provoked the Most High with their abominations. And they strengthened and aged abominably and scornfully before the Most High. And their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before the Most High. And they had in their land a very extensive valley, which is real large, about a half day's walk. And in it there were fountains of water and a great deal of herbs surrounding the water. So it's nice and plentiful. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in the year, and their wives and children and all belonging to them, and they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. And in the time of rejoicing, they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some the virgins' daughters of their neighbors, and they enjoyed them. In other words, they was having orgies. And each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor and did not say a word. So it was big time orgies going on. And they did so from morning to night. And they afterward returned home, each man to his house, and each woman to her tent. So they always did this 4 times in a year. And also, when a stranger came into their cities and brought goods which he had purchased with a view to dispose of there, the people of these cities would assemble, men, women, children, young and old, and they would go and take the man and go to the man and take his goods by force. They would take the stranger's goods by force, and giving a little to each man until there was an end to all the goods of the owner which he had brought into the land. And if the owner of the goods quarrel with them, in other words, fuss with them about it, saying, "What is this work which you have done to me?" Then they will approach to him one by one, and each one will show him the little which he took, and they will taunt him, saying, "I only took that little which you didst give me." And when he heard this from them all, he would arise and go from them in sorrow and bitterness of soul, because he didn't give them anything; they just took it. When they would all arise and go after him, and they would drive him out of the city with great noise and tumult. And there was a man from the country of Elam who was just leisurely going on the road, seated upon his donkey, which carried a fine mantle of diverse colors, and the mantle was bound with a cord upon the donkey. And the man was on his journey, passing through the street of Sodom when the sun set in the evening. The sun was going down, and he remained there in order to stay there during the night. But no one would let him into his house. And at that time, there was in Sodom a wicked and mischievous man, one who was skillful to do evil. And his name was Hadad. And he lifted up his eyes and he saw the traveler in the city, in the street of the city. And he came to him and said, "Whence comest thou, and where are you going?" And the man said to him, "I am traveling from Hebron to Elam, where I belong. And as I passed, the sun set, and no one would allow me to enter his house, though I had bread and water, and also straw and other provisions for my donkey. And I am not short of nothing." And he that answered him and said to him, "All that you shall want shall be supplied to you by me. But in the street, you shall not abide all night in the streets." And Hadad brought him to his house, and he took off the mantle from the donkey with the cord, and he brought them to his house. And he gave the donkey straw and provisions while the traveler was eating and drank in Hadad's house. And he abode there, he stayed there that night. This traveler did. And in the morning, the traveler rose up early to continue his journey. When Hadad said to him, "Wait, comfort your heart with a morsel of bread," and didn't go. And the man did so, and he remained with him. And they both ate and drank together during the day. Then the man rose up to go. And Hadad said to him, "Behold, now the day is declining. Sun's getting ready to set. You have better remain all night, that your heart may be comforted." And he pressed him so that he tarried there all night. And on the second day, the traveler rose up early to go away. When Hadad pressed him, saying, "Comfort your heart with a morsel of bread," and then go. And he remained there, the traveler did, and ate with him also the second day. And then the man rose up to continue his journey. And Hadad said to him, "Behold, now the day is declining. Remain with me to comfort your heart, and in the morning rise up early and go your way." And the man would not remain, but he rose and he saddled his donkey. And while he was saddling his donkey, the wife of Hadad said to her husband, "Behold, this man has remained with us for 2 days, eating and drinking, and he has given us nothing. And now shall he go away from us without giving anything?" And Hadad said to her, "Be silent." And the man saddled his donkey to go. And he asked Hadad to give him the cord and mantle to tie it upon his donkey. And Hadad said to him, "What are you saying?" And then the traveler said back to him, "That you, my lord, shall give me the cord and the mantle that's made with diverse colors, which you did take from me in your house to take care of it." And Hadad answered the man, saying, "This is the interpretation of your dream. The cord which thou seest means that your life will be lengthened out like a cord. And having seen the mantle color with all sorts of colors, that means that you shall have a vineyard in which you will plant trees of all fruits." And the traveler answered, saying, "Not so, my lord. For I was awake when I gave you this cord, and also a mantle woven with different colors, which you did take off the donkey, and you put them up for me." And Hadad answered and said, "Surely I have told you the interpretation of your dream, and it is a good dream. And this is the interpretation thereof." Remember, he was wicked. Remember, he was wicked and skillful in his wickedness. The sons of men here always give me 4 pieces of silver, which is my charge for interpreting dreams. And of you, I only ask 3 pieces of silver. And the man was provoked at the words of Hadad, and he cried bitterly. And he brought Hadad to Sirach, judge of Sodom. And the man laid his cause before Sirach the judge. When Hadad replied, saying, "It is not so, but thus the matter stands." And the judge said to the traveler, "This man Hadad is telling the truth, for he is famous in the cities, and he's very accurate in interpretation of dreams." And the man cried at the word of the judge, and he said, "Not so, my lord, for it was in the day that I gave him the cord and the mantle which was upon the donkey, in order to put them up in his house." And they both disputed before the judge, the one saying this matter was this, and the other declaring this matter was this. And Hadad said to the man, "Now give me 4 pieces of silver, that I charge for my interpretations of dreams. I will not make any allowance, and give me the expense of the four meals that you did eat in my house." And the man said to Hadad, "Truly, I will pay thee for what I ate in your house. Only give me the cord and mantle which you did conceal in your house." And Hadad replied before the judge and said to the man, "Did I not tell you the interpretation of your dream? The cord means that your days shall be prolonged like a cord, and the mantle that you will have a vineyard in which you will plant all kinds of fruit trees." Saying this in front of the judge. "This is the proper interpretation of your dream. Now give me the 4 pieces of silver that I require as a compensation, for I will make you no allowance." And the traveler cried at the words of Hadad, and they both argued before the judge. And the judge gave orders to his servants, who drove them rashly from the house. So the judge didn't even much settle it at all. And they went away arguing from the judge. When the people of Sodom heard them, and they gathered about them, and they exclaimed against the stranger, and they drove the stranger rashly from the city. And they went away arguing from the judge. And when the people of Sodom heard them, and they gathered about them, and they exclaimed against the stranger, they drove him rashly from the city. Oh, I read that twice. And the man continued his journey upon his donkey with bitterness of soul, lamenting and weeping. And whilst he was going along, he wept at what had happened to him in the corrupt city of Sodom. Now, family. Now, family. Now, family. Okay, now, family. Turn your sword to Jasher chapter 19, verses 1. Okay? Verses 1. Go to Jasher chapter 19, starting at verse 1. And it reads, "And the cities of Sodom had 4 judges to 4 cities, and these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Sharkaz and Gomorrah, Zabnak and Atma, and Menon in Zeboim. And Eliezer, Abraham's servant, applied to them different names. And he converted Sirach to Shakwa, and Shakra, and Zebnat to Kezeboim. I'm butchering these names. And Menon to Matzlodan. And by desire of their 4 judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, they had beds that you sleep in, erected in the streets of the cities. And if a man, a stranger, came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in them. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and they would measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was shorter than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end. And when he cried out to them, they would not even answer him. Meanies. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gates of death. And if he continued to cry out to them, would answer him saying, and if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him saying, thus shall it be done to a man that cometh into our land. He said, this is what's going to happen to a man that cometh into our land. That's what they told him. And when other men heard all these things that the people of the cities of Sodom did, they refrained from coming there. They said, we ain't going to Sodom. And when a poor man came to their land, they would give him silver and gold and cause a proclamation in the whole city not to give him a morsel of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death, all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold, which they had given to him. And those that could recognize the silver or gold, which they had given him, took it back. And at his death, they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them amongst themselves. And he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. Just wicked, y'all. They would after that carry him and bury him under some of the scrubs in the deserts. So they did all the days to anyone that came to them and died in their land. And in the course of time, Sarah sent Eliezer, Abraham's servant, to Sodom to check on Lot and inquire after his welfare, to make sure he was okay. And Eliezer went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger. And the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. And this poor man cried to Eliezer and supplicated his favor on account of what the man of Sodom had done to him. And he said to him, to the man of Sodom, why do you act this way to this poor man who came to your land? And the man of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, is this man your brother? Or have the people of Sodom made you a judge this day, that you should speak to me about this man? And Eliezer hit the man, struck him with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man. And when Eliezer approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hastened, and with a stone, he hit Eliezer in the forehead. And the blood flowed copiously from Eliezer's forehead. And when the man saw the blood, he caught hold of Eliezer, saying, give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in your forehead. For such is the custom and the law in our land. And Eliezer said to him, you have wounded me, and you require me to pay you for hire? And Eliezer would not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. And the man laid hold of Eliezer, and he brought him to Shakwa, the judge of Sodom, for judgment. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, I beseech thee, my lord, thus has this man done. For I smote him with a stone, that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire. And the judge said to Eleazar, this man speaketh truth to you. Give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land. And Eleazar heard the words of the judge. And Eleazar lifted up a stone, and he struck the judge. And the stone struck on his forehead, the judge's forehead, and the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Eleazar said, if this then is the custom in your land, give thou unto this man what I should have given him, for this has been your decision. You decreed it. And Eleazar left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. And when the kings of Elam had made war with the kings of Sodom, the kings of Elam captured all the property of Sodom, and they took Lot captive with his property. And when it was told to Abraham, he went and made war with the kings of Elam, and he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot, as well as the property of Sodom. At that time, the wife of Lot bare him a daughter, and he called her name Paltith, saying, because Yahuwah had delivered him and his whole household from the kings of Elam. And Paltith, daughter of Lot, she grew up, and one of the men of Sodom took her for a wife. And a poor man came into the city to seek refuge, to seek a maintenance, and he remained in the city some days. And all the people of Sodom caused a proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat until he dropped dead upon the earth. And they did so. And Paltith, the daughter of Lot, saw this man lying in the streets, starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive. And he was just upon the point of death. And her soul was filled with pity on account of the man. And she fed him secretly with bread for many days. And the soul of this man was revived. For when she went forth to fetch water, what she would do would put bread in the water pitcher. And when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it to him to eat. So she did many days. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days. And they said to each other, this can only be that he eats and drinks, for no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has without even his countenance changing. And 3 men hid themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed to know who it was that brought him bread. And Paltith, the daughter of Lot, went forth that day to fetch water. And she put bread into her pitcher of water. And she went to draw water by the poor man's place. And she took out the bread from the pitcher, and she gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. And the 3 men saw what Paltith did to the poor man. And they said to her, it is you then who has supported him, and therefore has he not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest of the people. And the 3 men went out of the place in which they were hidden, and they captured Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand. And they took Paltith and brought her before their judges. And they said to them, thus did she do. It is she who supplied the poor man with bread. Therefore, he did not die all this time. Now, therefore, declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed our law. That was their law. And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and kindled a fire in the street of the city. And they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. And in the city of Admah, there was a woman to whom they did the like. They did the same thing to. For a traveler came into the city of Admah to abide there all night with the intentions of going home in the morning. And he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father to remain there, as the sun had set when he had reached that place. And the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house. And he asked her for a drink of water. And she said to him, "Who are you?" And he said to her, "I was this day going on the road and reached here when the sun set. So I will abide here all night. And in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey." And the young woman went into the house, and she fetched the man bread and water to eat and drink. And this affair became known to the people of Admah. And they assembled and brought the young woman before the judges, and they should judge her for this act. And the judge said, "The judgment of death must pass upon this woman, because she transgressed our law." She keep talking about transgressing their law. "And this, therefore, is the decision concerning her." And the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman, and they anointed her with honey from the head to the foot, as the judge had decreed. And they placed her before a swarm of bees, which were then in their hives. And the bees flew upon her and stung her, and her whole body was swelled. And the young woman cried out on account of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her. And her cries ascended to heaven, to the Shemayim. And the Most High was provoked at this, and all the works of the city of Sodom, for they had abundance of food and had tranquility amongst them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy. And in those days their evildoings and their sins became great before the Most High. And the Most High sent for the two angels that had come to Abraham's house to destroy Sodom and its cities. And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent, because remember that's where they were, and they was leaving, after they had eaten and drunk. And they reached Sodom in the evening. And Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom. And when he saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. And he pressed them greatly and brought them into his house. And he gave them food which they ate. And they abode there all night in his house. And the angel said to Lot, "Now arise and go forth from this place, you and all belonging to you, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of this city. For the Most High will destroy this place." And the angels laid hold upon the hand of Lot, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hands of his children, and all belonging to him. And they brought him forth and set him outside the cities. And they said to Lot, "Escape for your life." And he fled, and all who was belonging to him. Then, then the Most High rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah and upon all these cities brimstone and fire from the Most High out of the Shemayim, out of the heaven. And he overthrew these cities, all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew up on the ground. And I do, the wife of Lot, looked back to see the destructions of the cities, for her compassion was moved on account of her daughters who remained in Sodom, for they did not go with her. And when she looked back, she became a pillar of salt, and it is yet in that day placed upon this day. Family, family, family. We knew what happened to Lot's wife. We knew that. But are you getting this? Are you getting this? That the Most High didn't only destroy them because of sexual immorality. Most High got fed up when that last woman who was screamed out with the beads and everything. That's when he said enough is enough on how they were treating strangers. We'll continue in the next section. Better yet, family, I think I'm going to go ahead and finish up Jasher. So go ahead and go to Jasher. Go to Jasher chapter 22. Go to chapter 22, and we're going to start let's go to chapter 22, and let's start at verse 1. Okay, let's start at verse 1. Okay. And Ishmael then rose up and took his wife and his children, and his cattle, and all belonging to him. And he journeyed from there. And he went to his father in the land of the Philistines. That's where Abraham was at the time. And Abraham related to Ishmael, his son, the transaction with the first wife that Ishmael took, according to what she did. You have to go back and read that, what that was about. And Ishmael and his children dwelt with Abraham many days in that land. And Abraham dwelt in the land of the Philistines a long time. And the days increased and reached, and the days increased and reached 26 years. Oh, they were there for a long time. And after that, Abraham with his servants and all belonging to him went from the land of the Philistines and removed to a great distance. And they came near to Hebron, and they remained there. And the servants of Abraham dug wells of water. And Abraham and all belonging to him dwelt by the water. And the servants of Abimelech, king of the Philistines, heard the report. The servants of Abimelech, not Abimelech himself, because they were friends. Friends of Abraham. Servants of Abimelech, king of the Philistines, heard the report that Abraham's servants had dug wells of water in the borders of the land. And they came and they argued with the servants of Abraham. And they robbed them of the great well which they had dug. And Abimelech, king of the Philistines, he heard of this affair. And then he, along with his captain Phicol, captain of his host, and 20 of his men, they came to Abraham. And Abimelech spoke to Abraham concerning his servants. And Abraham rebuked Abimelech concerning the well of which his servants had robbed him. And Abimelech said to Abraham, as the Most High liveth, who created the whole earth, I did not hear of the act which my servants did this unto your servants until now. And Abraham took 7 ewe lambs and gave them to Abimelech, saying, take these, I pray thee, from my hands, that it may be a testimony for me that I dug this well. And Abimelech took the 7 ewe lambs which Abraham had given to him, for he had also given him cattle and herds in abundance. And Abimelech swore to Abraham concerning the well. Therefore he called that well Beersheba, for there they both swore concerning it. And they both made a covenant in Beersheba. And Abimelech rose up with his captain and the host and all his men, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham and all belonging to him dwelt in Beersheba, and he was in that land a long time. And Abraham planted a large grove in Beersheba, and he made to it 4 gates facing the 4 sides of the earth. In other words, he made a gate on the north, south, east, and west of that large grove that he had. And what did he do? And he planted a vineyard in it, so that if a traveler or a stranger came to Abraham, he entered in any of the gates which was in his road, and remained there, and ate and drank and satisfied himself, and then departed. See the difference, y'all? For the house of Abraham was always open to the sons of men that passed by and repassed, who came daily to eat and drink in the house of Abraham. And any man who had hunger and came to Abraham's house, Abraham will give him bread that he might eat and drink and be satisfied. Anybody, y'all? And anyone that came naked to his house, he would clothe with garments as he might choose, and give him silver and gold, and make known to him, and he preached to him, and he made known to him Yahuwah, who had created him in the earth. This did Abraham all his life. Yo, I'm going to read 13 again. This is what we are called to do to the other nations. The other nations. They're not grafted in. But they can cleave. And any man who had hunger and came to Abraham's house, Abraham will give him bread that he might eat and drink and be satisfied. And anyone that came naked to his house, he would clothe with garments as he might choose, and give him silver and gold, and make known to him the Most High, Elohim, who had created him in the earth. And this did Abraham do all his life. All his life, family. All his life. Okay. Now turn to Joshua chapter 26. And we're gonna end it after reading this part. Joshua chapter 26, verses start at verse 21. 21. Joshua 26, verse starting at verse 21. And Abraham gave all that he had to his son Isaac, and he also gave him all his treasures. And he commanded him, saying, Do you thou not know and understand now the Yahuwah Elohim is in the heaven and in the earth, and that there is no other beside him? And that it was he who took me from my father's house and from my birthplace, and gave me all the delights upon the earth, who delivered me from the counsel of the wicked, for in him did I trust. And he brought me to this place, and he delivered me from 𝐿-kasdim. Now he's talking to Isaac, and gave me all the delights upon the earth, who delivered me from the counsel of the wicked, for in him did I trust. And he brought me to this place, and he delivered me from 𝐿-kasdim. And he said unto me, To your seed will I give all these lands, and they shall inherit them when they keep my commandments, my statutes, and my judgments that I have commanded thee, and which I shall command thee. And therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, and keep the commandments of the Most High Elohim, Yahuwah, which I commanded you. Do not turn from the right way, either to the right or to the left, in order that it may be well with thee and your children after thee forever. And remember, remember the wonderful works of the Most High, and his kindness that he has shown toward us in having delivered us from the hands of our enemies. And the Most High, our Elohim, caused them to fall into our hands. And now therefore, keep all that I have commanded thee, and turn not away from the commandments of of our Elohim, and serve none besides him, in order that it may be well with you and your seed after thee. Us, y'all. And teach thou your children and thy seed the instructions of the Most High and his commandments, and teach them the upright way in which they should go, in order that it may be well with them forever. And Isaac answered his father and said unto him, That which my Elohim has commanded, that will I do. And I will not depart from the commands of the Most High, my Elohim. I will keep all that he commanded me. And Abraham blessed his son Isaac, and also his children. And Abraham taught Jacob the instruction of the Most High and his ways. And it was at that time, that Abraham died, in the 15th year of the life of Jacob and Esau, and the sons of Isaac, and all the days of Abraham were 175 days. And he died and was gathered to his people in a good old age, and satisfied with days. And Isaac and Ishmael, his sons, buried him. Okay, family. Okay, let's go now to Joshua. Joshua chapter 23 and this is going to be the last verses that we read until the next session, the next reading session. Okay, Joshua 23 verses, starting at verses 6. We can just start there. And you shall be very strong to guard and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Moses, so as not to turn aside from it right or left, so as not to go in among these nations, those who remain among you, we read this before, and make no mentions of the names of their mighty ones, nor swear by it, nor serve them, nor bow down to them, but cling to Yahuwah your Elohim, as you have done to this day. For Yahuwah has driven out from before you great and strong nations. As for you, no one has stood against you to this day. One man of you put 1,000 to flight. For Yahuwah your Elohim is he who is fighting for you, as he has promised. And you shall diligently guard yourself to love Yahuwah your Elohim. But if you do turn back at all and cling to the remnant of these nations, that these that remain among you, and intermarry with them, and go into them, and they to you, know for a certain that Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall no longer drive these nations out before you, and they shall be snares and traps to you, and a whip on your sides, and thorns in your eyes. They're just going to be thorns on our side until you perish from this good land which Yahuwah, your Elohim, has given you. Now, now, just like what I'm seeing, just like the Most High said in 12, that not to cling to those nations. That is what the other nations has to do to us. They, in order to be part of us, in order to be part and be in our kingdom, they have to cling. It's the same principle. It's the same thing. They have to cling. They have to cling. Same thing. This is the one reason why the Most High told us not to have them, not to be amongst them, because then we'll end up clinging to them. So no, they're going to cling or cleave to us. They're going to cleave to us. This is why in the next reading that we're going to see why, what happened, what was said, what the Most High told us how to treat them in Leviticus and Deuteronomy and all of that. We're going to go back to that until the next reading section. Peace and blessings, Yasharel and Shalom.